Welcome back to Bubbly and Blazers, your go-to podcast for bold moves, boss energy, and the bubbly moments that come with building a life you love. I'm Ainsley, and joining me is my co-host Shayla.
Hello, hello. Today we're talking about breaking into leadership as a young professional. I think this
Hmm
is a topic close to our hearts and probably yours too. So, whether you're fresh out of school, early in your career, or finding your voice in the boardroom, stepping into leadership can feel exciting, but also be a little bit intimidating.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into how to lead with confidence, even if you're young and you're feeling a bit nervous, or maybe you're one of the only women, and then what leadership actually looks like, and just kind of how to own your seat at the table and just make it happen for yourself. So you already have what it takes. We're just here to help you own it and have a little bit of a discussion on the topic because it can be an interesting one for sure. So grab your bubbly and let's get into it.
Yay! Okay, yeah, I love this topic. I'm super excited to talk about this today. I'm
She's a
curious.
leader. She's ready to lead.
I'm curious. Okay, let's start off. When was the first time you realized you were seen as a leader? Even if maybe like you didn't feel like you were one yet.
I feel like I always like got told this like as a kid. That's like so
Mhm.
random and weird, but like people would just be like, "You're a leader,
Mm,
you're a great influence, you know where you're going." Like so I feel
mhm.
like I was always kind of like encouraged from a young age, and I feel like I've kind of built on that. Um,
I love that because you do have a very confident energy to you,
thank
and
you.
you can back that energy up with your skill set and your expertise. But I think that doesn't
Hmm
surprise me that you've always been kind of maybe told that by other people or been put in those
Yeah.
positions just based on knowing a little bit of who you are.
Yeah, and I feel like, and so part like kind of personality wise and encouragement wise, like I was always kind of into that. I feel
Mhm.
like my first very like leader moment, I did feel like a leader was
Mhm.
I volunteered at a middle school yesterday, so I've been really like
Oh,
thinking back to like my middle school days. So when I
okay.
was in ninth grade, I was one of like the student leaders. So it was like a class we took, and we would like kind of greet all the new students and work a lot with that. And so I felt like that was, and we would do like a lot of the assemblies, like performances and stuff.
Aw.
And it was so fun. And yeah, I feel like that was like the first time where I was like, yes, like I am a leader. Like I'm a grown up now. Even though you're like in grade nine, you're so still itty bitty. But I feel like that was probably when I was like, oh I'm rocking it.
I love that. Did you have a clipboard and t-shirt? All that?
Had a t-shirt for
Yeah.
sure. We had uniforms. I don't know if I had a clipboard. Probably though. Like had like a little, at least like a little guiding booklet.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it was cute. It was fun. So
I love
love
that.
that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so great. I feel like I was always the opposite of you almost, where I
Mm.
was very quiet growing up. So
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily be the first one put in that kind of position or even feel comfortable enough to be in front of people. I'd say it wasn't for me, it wasn't until later on when I got a job working like at the YMCA,
Mm.
and I was just leading kids programs. Um, and I remember like at one point having to lead an activity and thinking like, oh, or like something had happened or there was an incident and someone needed to address it, and like I was kind of like looking around for the adult in the room and
Yeah.
quickly realized that that adult was me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I was like, okay,
Yep.
I need to step up to the plate here. It's my turn to
Yeah.
be that role model and be that mentor for these kids. And I think that was the first time where I really, yeah, started to see myself in a leadership position.
Love. Yeah, I feel like it's a big difference between I feel like I had a similar experience too, like
Hmm.
being like, yeah, like a kid and you're like maybe like, oh, like a student leader, like it's lots of fun and like whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like when I nannied, it was like the same thing. It was like I had always babysat growing
Mm.
up, and so I was like, oh yeah, I'm like my new job nanny. I'm gonna crush this. And it was like the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm the adult here. I'm in
Yeah.
charge. This is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And all right, like let's lock in. It's definitely like kind of your first actual moment where you're in charge. You're kind of like, okay, all right, I need to get focused here. Like, okay, this is different.
Definitely. All eyes are on you.
Yeah, it's like, a little bit scary, but doable. Amazing.
I love that. And let's maybe, okay, so let's transition. I love that story and kind of how
Mhm.
you came to be. Maybe let's bring it back to the basics as to
Yeah.
like what is leadership? Like, what do we define that as? What does it mean to be a leader? What are those kind of qualities to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. A good leader to me is kind, um, educational, like they want, like thinking of like a workplace, like they're helping you develop, teaching you things like that.
Mm,
Um, Obviously like a good example, like I think people rarely respect a leader if like they're being told what to do and then the leader just like completely does whatever
the
they
opposite.
want.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one thing I want to add that on the top, I don't know if it's I'm like I'm having ADHD, like I need to add it now before I forget. Um, because we've talked about it a bit. I was in an organizational behavior course this
Mm,
past semester.
okay.
And I feel like one of like we were talking about leadership, one of the
Hmm.
lectures,
Hmm.
and something that I never really thought about that I really like,
Hmm.
is that to be a leader, you need to have followers. There
Hmm.
is no leader if there is no followers. So sometimes
Hmm.
people are like, oh, like it's so like it being a follower has like such a negative connotation, but a
Mm,
leader needs one or two followers to get it going and make them the leader and make everybody kind of domino effect, like get with the leader. So it's like,
hmm.
I like the idea of sometimes being a leader to me is not just being like the number one, like figurehead. It's like sometimes it's
Hmm.
like you see an idea, you're like, wow, that's a great idea. I want to get involved with this idea. I want to help
Hmm.
make this person the leader, and I'm going to help them to create their vision and hopefully get some other people involved too. So I think, yeah, there's lots of different ways to be a leader, in my opinion.
No, I love that. Like it's not just about the title. And you can
Mm-hmm.
take that in a workplace setting, you can take that in a volunteer setting, personal setting,
Mm-hmm.
however you like it. But I like that point of it is I think we confuse leader with expert
Yeah.
sometimes too, in thinking that like the leader is the person that knows everything,
Mm-hmm.
they're the most informed, they're the person that's going to teach everything. And I think sometimes they're the same person, but not always. And I
Yeah.
like that point where you said the leader is the person that everyone kind of turns to follow their direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's also the job of the leader to be able to create opportunities for other people to lead or give them the opportunity to share their expertise at the table as well.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. All right. So, what are some traits that you think are good in a leader?
Yeah, I think just expanding on that more, I think back to people in my life that I look up to as leaders or who I saw as leaders in an organization, and they were the people that, pulled up an extra chair at a table for
Yeah.
me. They're the people that gave over tasks, delegated, provided opportunities for other people to step forward. To me, those are qualities of a leader,
Yeah.
and ones that I try and embody too when I'm going about my day to day. I think, it's not necessarily about your age. And again, going back to the whole title thing, because I think that's
Yeah.
another huge misconception is
Mm-hmm.
that, sometimes it is the quiet ones in the room who are leading. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really about how you are directing a team and how are you helping others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you said like somebody that's inclusive, right? Like
Hmm.
maybe it's not like the leader of the project per se. Like it's just somebody in the group, part of the team, like they can still be a leader by getting you involved, including you, like making
Hmm.
sure you feel supported. Like,
Hmm.
um, I love that. I think that that's important.
Certainly. And I think, let's talk about too, like how for those of maybe who feel like they haven't yet been in a leadership opportunity, but are really
Mm-hmm.
wanting to step into that role, what would be some kind of like, tips or tricks or advice that you would give for someone who's trying to maybe polish up their leadership skills or wanting to step into a role like that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of at that place now. We've
Hmm.
talked a little bit about Enactus and all that.
Hmm. Yeah.
I've been in a project management position for our Revive project since September,
Hmm.
and I feel excited going into third year because I'm gonna carry on with that role because I feel like I kind of am obviously getting leadership experience, but I
Right.
still have like so much more to develop.
Right.
So I'm ready to go into another year in that role and really refine it because it's like obviously when you're starting out like me, it's like, okay, you don't really know at first, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so for example, I can think back like there's all these things that need to be done, right? You have a
Hmm.
team,
Hmm.
and at first I feel like I really struggle with like I want to be involved, I want to do a good job,
Hmm.
and I don't want to put too much on my team. Like I don't I to me like that's not a good leader, somebody who's just at the top and is like, okay, you do this, and it's like you're just like, oh, I'm the leader. Like, okay. I like somebody that's involved. But
I'm going to add a point there before you
yeah.
continue, and you're probably going to lose your train of thought now that I'm
No, you're
interrupting you.
good. No, you're fine. You're so
I
fine.
think there is a caution to that, though, to be said that I agree. I think
Hmm.
the best sign of a leader is someone who is working collaboratively with their team as well, but
Yeah.
also making sure that you are delegating the task because I think bad
Hmm.
leaders are ones that don't let their team do anything.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's a very fine line between delegating too much and not delegating enough. So
Enough.
I like that
Yeah.
you brought that up.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like I've been at all year. Like at first it was like when I first took on the role, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. There's so much to do. And
Right.
then the people that were leading me were like, okay, well, you have a team. Like, that's the
Yeah.
whole point. And I'm like, right, right, right,
Right.
right. And I've been like kind of teetering with it all year.
Mhm.
And so that's for me exactly. I think that's kind of um, a big goal to keep building going into the
Mhm.
next academic year because it's like, okay, I don't want to burn myself out.
Right.
I want to give people opportunities
Yes.
to help. Like, obviously, they're here to help.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I totally agree. It's like that's something for me that um yeah, I would recommend. Like don't be afraid of delegating.
Mhm.
But I feel like I can't give a ton of advice on it because that's what I'm continuing to work on.
I think that is good
Um,
advice though, because
yeah.
you learn as you go, right?
Hmm.
And sharing that experience, I think you did exactly what most people would do in that role is, like they're so excited and they just like start
Yeah.
doing, and then you realize like into it, you're like, oh wait, what like what? Like oh right, I need to have other
Yeah.
people that can support me doing this and like
Absolutely. And I feel like it's interesting too because it is a volunteer role, so it's
hmm.
like again, like I never want to like overload anybody, but
Hmm.
I've come to like a good place where it's like, okay, I'll just put it out to group. This is what needs to be done. Um, this is maybe what I'm going to take on. Can somebody else take on like this bit? And I feel
Right.
like that's worked well.
And I
But
think
yeah.
no, your team knowing that you're there to support them when they do
Mhm.
have questions, when
It's
they
important.
get stuck, like that's also, part of building your leadership skill set is to let them
Yeah.
go and try, let them go and fail, let them make mistakes, and then work with them to help improve,
Yeah.
because people need the opportunity to try as well.
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm in the same like space. There's been so many moments this year where I'm like, okay, that was like a bit of a failure. But like I'll just say to the team like straight up, I'm like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
So forgive me and I'm learning through it and we'll all learn through it and kind of go from there. Like nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's expand on that one because
yeah,
again, I think we often confuse leader with expert.
yeah,
And I think it's really important, especially if you're starting out in leadership roles, like yes, you need to know what you're doing, but it's okay to not know everything,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Now's your
Especially in
time to,
a volunteer context because it's
yeah,
like, okay, somebody needs to kind of take the reins,
yes,
and so it's like, all right, let's do it.
exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions because
Mm-hmm.
now's the time. It's better to ask the questions in the beginning and then be 8 months into the projects and be like, could someone
Uh,
just clarify what this
actually,
first point is?
actually, I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah. Um, Definitely. And that's the thing, it's like it all comes with kind of like a little bit of an imposter syndrome. I know we've talked about that before.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like I worked through that well this year, and I'm ready next year like to have a little more confidence under my belt, and um yeah, just like try new things and suggest new things and have that confidence. So that's what I would suggest. That's what I plan on doing.
No, I love that. And again, like, tips for people that are looking for those opportunities. It's about exactly what you said, showing up, putting your
Yeah.
hand up, being consistent,
Mm-hmm.
delivering results, but also just communicating clearly with people, right? Think
Mm-hmm.
of
For sure.
leaders that you've had in your life. I'm sure a lot of them share those qualities, and they're ones that, we can all work on embodying as well.
Yeah,
So we touched
definitely.
on, you mentioned kind of imposter syndrome, and I think that is a big thing about, stepping into those leadership roles sometimes. Have you ever noticed that in stepping into a leadership role? And if you have, how did you move through that?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, like definitely experienced that.
Mhm.
Like I said, it was a volunteer role, so it's kind of like I kind of went into it like, okay, well, no one else wants to take the lead here, so it's like, but I'm willing to,
Right.
and hopefully everyone knows that it's like it's not going to be perfect.
Hmm.
And there's definitely some trials that go along with that, but I think that's how I moved through it, was just trying to remind myself like it's not that serious, like we're all doing our best here.
Hmm.
It's all learning experience, and yeah, just like make those mistakes but hopefully learn from them, kind of vibe. That was what I was trying to remind myself. How about you?
Yeah, I I think my one of my biggest moments was I coach with Special Olympics and I've sat on the
Hmm.
board in different positions. And a few years ago, they used to have this annual golf tournament as a fundraiser, and it kind of stopped over COVID. And it was something that was in the back of my mind about wanting to be involved with in some capacity. We just started this huge initiative to make sport free, and so we needed some big fundraising events to make that happen.
Hmm.
Um, no one was really talking about it, and I was like, I want to be involved in some capacity. So I kind of put my
Yeah.
hand up. It ended up being myself and one other gentleman who organized it. And at the time, I had never even played golf, let alone
You're like, okay.
let alone ran a tournament, attended a tournament, nothing of the sorts. I just thought I saw
Yeah.
the need and I didn't see anyone else stepping up. And I thought, okay, here's the opportunity. Why not just take the bull by the horns and go for it? What could go wrong? It was a
Yeah.
really great learning experience. And, I think it was a good lesson in sometimes we stand in our own way and
Yeah.
to remember that and to step out of the way.
I like what you said about like filling a need. Obviously it's like can be a little more challenging than that. Like again, the volunteering leaves a little bit of room. But even at
Yes.
work, like it's like if you see a need, like I like the idea of that, just like raising your hand and being like, okay, what about this idea? If nobody's willing to lead it, like you lead it, like do your best, do
Hmm.
research, find people you need to support you, and make it happen. It's like that's what being a leader's all about. So I love that.
Definitely. And I think growth happens in those moments too, like
Yeah.
personally and professionally. So
Yeah.
why not push yourself just that little bit more?
Love. Okay. So we have a little list because we love a list
Love a
of
list.
three pa sorry, not three. I read that wrong. There's like six here.
Six.
Power moves for rising leaders. So, number one, speak up in meetings. So, like I just said, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
make yourself known.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a leader if nobody knows who you are and nobody's noticing you. Don't be afraid to like ask questions or like that. Be like, yeah, if there's a need, fill that need. You got this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Two would be to volunteer for projects, especially ones that have cross-functional roles in them.
Yeah.
Or I'd say, like you said, like I think Ainsley and I both from our experiences have gotten involved with projects
Hmm.
that we felt passionate about. So seek out those opportunities too. Find organizations that you feel excited about or want to work with, and look for volunteer organization or volunteer projects within those organizations.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like cross-functional sort of
Mm,
things. Um, because I think like people kind of tend to stay with their people, with their like little group, which is
yes.
totally awesome and totally human nature and normal. We all do
Mm,
it.
it's comfortable.
Um, but yeah, like there's so many opportunities to just add your ideas in or receive ideas from other people that have a different crew and do a totally different job from you.
Hmm.
Especially when you're in like one company, it's like usually there's one kind of main overarching goal.
Hmm.
And it's like, yes, everybody has their role, but it's like, okay, why don't we give our ideas to make everything better, right? I'm a big fan of that. Number three, find a mentor or be a mentor. So that's what I
Mm,
meant just back there when I was saying, like, okay, if you want to start, use like the golf tournament's a prime example. You're like,
hmm.
I literally have no idea about golf. I'm gonna do the golf tournament. Great.
All I knew is
Um,
you could buy cute skirts at Lulu.
love. It's like, okay, find somebody in your network that is like an avid golfer and be
Yeah.
like, hey, like I need to sit down for coffee with you. I just need a little bit of insight. It's a little extra work, but it's like that's the kind of stuff that is going to build relationships
Mm,
and make your venture so much more successful. But
hmm.
also being a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in that leadership position, help people where they need, encourage them.
I think that's a good, I want to touch on that too before we
Yeah.
jump to number four. Like, I think if you're looking for leadership opportunities, start as a mentor to someone. Find
Mm-hmm.
someone who's like wanting to learn a skill set that you're strong in and offer
Mm.
to teach them, offer to coach them, grab coffees together, see what advice you can provide them. I think putting in yourself in a position, creating a leadership position by being a mentor to someone is a
Yeah.
huge first step in elevating your own skill set.
It's huge too. Like I feel like I've been on like a bit of a job search for the summer
Mm,
and there's so many just like different jobs where they're like we want experience in this.
mhm, mhm.
And sometimes I feel at least that it's like, okay, where am I getting this experience from?
Right.
Um yeah, find a mentor.
Mhm,
It's like working with people that are incredible at you know, digital editing online. It's like, I don't have that skill. I want that skill. I want to acquire
mhm.
it. It's like find somebody that who has that skill, can help you, and hopefully you can develop it as well.
Yeah, nowadays with LinkedIn, like do a little
Yeah.
search and send
What's
that
everyone up
cold
to?
message.
Yeah, I mean, like,
You
yeah,
never know.
exactly. It's like they might be looking for an opportunity and so are you. So win-win.
I love that. Okay, tips for power moves for rising leaders. Number four, set boundaries. So, like we touched on right at the
Yeah.
beginning, being a leader doesn't mean that you're doing it all. You have
Yeah,
a team, and how can you provide opportunities for those other team members as well, while still maintaining your own personal boundaries?
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Five is ask for feedback and implement it. Yeah, this is great. This is something I'm always trying to do. It's like, okay, are you guys good? Are you happy? Do you hate me? And I think it's important to implement obviously feedback. I think a lot of times people will ask for feedback and they're like, okay, cool, well, I'm just gonna keep doing it my way.
Yeah.
It's like try to shape the situation to make it better. That's important.
Yeah, making sure that you're also asking for feedback when you're open to feedback. Because
Yeah.
like you said, it's nothing worse than like someone being like, "Okay, so could you give me feedback on this project?" You give them the feedback and they're like,
Yeah.
"So you hate me."
Yeah. It's like, okay. Okay.
Like,
Let's
well,
try to be open. We're trying
yeah.
to be better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Don't take it too personally. We're all about building each other.
Literally, literally. And when you give feedback, I mean, I feel like people know this, but it's like it's sometimes hard. It's like, okay, make it about the task. Like it's not about
Exactly.
people. It's
Yeah,
That's really important.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least for our little tips here, build your leadership brand. I like this point too,
Yeah.
especially because I think, if business teaches you anything, you're always marketing yourself, you're always selling yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
when you think about who you want to show up as a leader, what does that look like? What do you want people to experience when they're working with you? How do
For
you want to
sure.
make people feel? What is your reason for being in that position? Spend some time thinking about that because once you have a direction of where you want to go, you'll notice that you'll start to show up that way.
Yeah. Just makes everything way more intentional. And then we were talking before we recorded about manifesting. It's like, okay,
Yes.
nothing like setting a little intention for how you want things to go.
Yeah.
I think at least if you're thinking about it, that's probably going to steer you hopefully in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so last question for you.
Hmm.
What is one power move that you made in your career that you feel made a big difference,
Mm.
leadership wise?
I'm gonna generalize it
Sure.
because I've been grateful to receive.
Many
I,
power moves.
I've had a few power moves, more so recently, but a few power moves.
Love.
Um, I'd say what's made the biggest difference for me is saying yes to opportunities and then figuring it out.
Yeah.
Um, I heard this quote somewhere, I'm not sure where, probably TikTok these days, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I read somewhere.
when I was in the library, I stumbled across this
Yeah.
quote in a
A
book.
book. Just turning pages.
But it was talking about imposter syndrome, and maybe I've shared this before, where
Mm.
imposter syndrome is when others can see your potential before you can.
Yeah.
And I really like that
Mm.
because, I've gotten to where I am by taking on roles and responsibilities that I didn't feel I was ready for, but others opened the door for me. And
Yeah.
instead of, shying away or closing them, I just walked through with confidence and that mindset that I could figure it out or find people to help me figure it out. And so instead of letting that fear stand in the way, I just did it.
I love
And
that.
I think the biggest thing is you never know if that door will ever open again, and
Hmm.
why not just make it happen?
For sure. I agree.
Hmm.
It's like try things. Um, yeah, because who knows? It's like if you're interested and you're curious, try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. Just
Yeah,
move on, but you might love it. So I think that's
exactly.
huge. For
Yeah.
sure. Okay, let's break it
Lovely
down.
breakdown.
Whew. Leadership is a mindset, not a title. Yeah, anyone can be a leader. So just do it. Just start. Little steps make a big difference in people's lives and in work and in play and volunteering, all that good stuff.
Yeah, remember, credibility is built with consistency. So show up and stay ready.
Yeah. Confidence is a muscle. We've talked about this before. It's just all about like kind of keep practicing. Um, yeah, and just believing in yourself. That sounds so it sounds so bad, but it's true. It's
Yep,
true, and I'm trying to practice it right now. It's like, okay, encourage yourself rather than like tear yourself down.
totally. Seek growth, but not perfection. Fail forward and keep learning.
Always classic Bubbly and Blazers note. We're always practicing that.
Yep.
And then yeah, power moves over people pleasing. So protect
Hmm.
your energy. Um, yeah, it's like sometimes being a leader is you're not like being the coolest person ever, and that's okay because somebody's got to take the bull by the horns. And yeah, it's very important. Like going back to the like burnout conversation and not delegating. It's like, sometimes things need to be done and people need to participate, and that's okay. You just gotta be tough, be brave.
Be strong.
Yeah, it's gotta be
I
done.
love that. I love that.
Love.
So remember, leadership isn't about being the loudest, the oldest, or even the most experienced. It's about showing up with purpose, lifting others, and making decisions that move the needle. You don't have to wait for permission to lead, you just have to start.
That's right. Thanks for tuning in to Bubbly and Blazers. If this episode gave you a little spark of interest or a nudge to step up, share it with a friend who's ready to take the lead. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate us, subscribe, leave us a review. We love hearing from you, our business besties.
Yeah, until next time, Blazers on, voice strong, and lead like the CEO of your life.
Cheers.
Cheers.